I have some harsh truths about D&D, but are you ready to hear them? For those of you new here, hi, my name's Drew, I'm a voice actor, I'm a dungeon master. I make videos like this that you might find interesting or even useful. Now, my first harsh truth about D&D and TTRPGs in general is that D&D is not the only TTRPG that exists in the world. Shock, I know, but there are many, many other TTRPGs, and some of them are definitely worth your time looking into, especially if you want something with a little bit more flavor than what you're normally used to. Now, this does beg the question, why is D&D so popular in that case? Well, in my opinion, it comes down to two things: accessibility and versatility. Dungeons & Dragons is one of the most easily accessible tabletop games because it has so much material to draw upon, both official and home-brewed, and has been around for many, many years, which means that its rule sets have been refined many, many times. This gameplay style of Dungeons & Dragons also means it can be adapted to suit all sorts of different settings and scenarios, not just a typical fantasy element. I personally even have a Kickstarter-backed D&D module that is set entirely around 80s movie. Now, in that sense, it's very easy to pick up and start playing with the rule sets involved, but there are other TTRPGs out there if you wanted to branch out a little bit. You have things like Pathfinder, which is one of the oldest rivals to D&D, which has a very similar play style. There's Call of Cthulhu if you like your games a little darker, with an element of eldritch horror and insanity involved. There's Vampire the Masquerade if you played Curse of Strahd and thought you wanted a little bit more. If you like your adventures focused more on story, roleplay, and cooperation, then Daggerheart is the new kid on the block with a dice currency system that affects events of the plot. Now, that's made by Darrington Press, and that's from the same people that brought you Critical Role. They also made Candela Obscura, and that's if you're into some more psychological ghost hunting adventures. There's pretty much a TTRPG for just about everything. There's even a Power Rangers one if you want to relive your fondest 90s childhood Saturday morning memories. But where these games are more specialist, they also come with different, sometimes more complicated rule systems, which, if you're only just starting out in these kinds of games, can seem very daunting, which is why it's easier to start with something easily accessible and then discover your own flavor after that. That's just one of my harsh truths about D&D and TTRPGs in general. So follow along for some more in the future, and as always, drop a comment below with what you think is a harsh truth that people should know. And until our next session, happy gaming.